She's marrying a cop after 3 baby daddies and a family feud. It's the right thing to do, he said, just like the last two. But this time, no one showed up to celebrate, and the truth finally. A girl I know from high school is getting married. For context, we're both 22. Back in our senior year, she got pregnant by her then boyfriend, Adam, baby daddy A. Her ultra-conservative parents kicked her out, and she ended up staying with a friend's family. She barely managed to graduate, and the only reason she did was because of the generosity of our teachers and classmates who helped her. That's actually how we met. We were in the same morning law class. Her morning sickness made it really tough for her to keep up, so I took extra notes, tutored her, and brought her materials when she missed class. I wasn't the only one who helped, and I know she was grateful for all the support. She gave birth about a month after graduation. After high school, she enrolled in a 911 dispatcher course since it's a stable job with good career growth in our area. But she didn't realize how intense the program would be and had to drop out. She ended up taking a job at a grocery store bakery while figuring out her next steps. Meanwhile, Adam started an apprenticeship while working part-time at a hockey rink. On her 18th birthday, he proposed, saying that getting married was the right thing to do. She kept turning him down. By the time we were 19, she started cheating on Adam and eventually left him for another guy, Brad, baby daddy B, because she was pregnant again, and Brad was the more likely father. Since neither of them could afford a lawyer, the custody situation with Adam was chaotic. Their parents got involved, and they settled on an unofficial 50-50 arrangement. She gave birth to Brad's child, and for about 9 months, things were relatively stable, until she found out Brad had been cheating on her with his TA. Brad agreed to pay child support but wanted minimal involvement in his child's life, only seeing them on holidays and 1 weekend a month, mainly to appease his parents. She moves back in with her parents, we're all 20 now, who only accept her back because there's grandchildren around. On the plus side, when she's 21, she gets to take that year-long dispatcher course, and passes with flying colors. By the time we all turned 22, she had been working as a 911 dispatcher for a year when she met a police officer, let's call him Chad. Chad, who was 26 and married at the time, also happened to be Adam's distant cousin. I can't remember exactly how they're related, but they are. Infidelity is apparently common among cops, and sure enough, she started an affair with Chad. She ended up getting pregnant again, his wife divorced him, and, just like Adam before him, Chad proposed, saying, it's the right thing to do. This time, she accepted. Her ultra-conservative parents were furious and kicked her out again, so she moved in with Chad along with her 2 kids. They started planning the wedding, but given all the drama surrounding it, it's been a complete disaster. Adam is absolutely livid. He was deeply in love with her and never really got over what she did to him. The fact that she rejected his proposals for years but then turned around and accepted one from his cousin, who proposed for the exact same reason, was like adding insult to injury. Adam has essentially drawn a line in the sand, trying to rally support from family members about who should attend, who should contribute money, etc. On top of that, COVID has made wedding planning even more difficult. Her own parents have flat out refused to go, along with half of her extended family. Her younger sister has even been actively sabotaging whatever wedding plans they do manage to make. She asked me to be a bridesmaid, but I declined, saying that I live in another province now, which is true. However, the real reason is that I have absolutely no desire to be involved in this mess. Instead, I'm just watching the drama unfold on social media, and honestly, it's the most entertaining thing I've seen all year. What's even stranger is that she asked me in the first place. We were never actually friends. In high school, we were just friendly acquaintances, and I only helped her in that one class because I could. I was just being nice. Looking at where she is now, I mostly just feel sad for her. 3 kids in 4 years, alienated from so many friends and family members because of her choices. I'm torn between feeling sorry for her and just burying my face in my hands. Edit 1. First of all, your comments are absolutely hilarious. Second, I wanted to address some of the most common questions. We're from a city with a population of over 400,000, but she grew up in a neighborhood that's either filled with hardcore religious folks or, well, let's just say people with very different priorities. No in between. However, the high school we attended was in a completely different area. Our school actually had a solid sex education program. They provided free condoms, offered resources to help students access birth control, and even had programs in place for teen parents. There was also a class with those robotic babies for students considered high risk for teen pregnancy, though she wasn't in that program. I'm not sure if birth control didn't work for her or if she just never used it. She started losing friends after her affair with Chad became public. People weren't exactly thrilled that she had broken up a marriage, Though, thankfully, Chad and his ex didn't have kids, so that at least made things less complicated. When she didn't get the overwhelming support she expected, she started lashing out, getting snippy, being rude, and openly calling out bitches on social media for not celebrating her new relationship and pregnancy. To be honest, I'm really concerned about her. Having so many pregnancies back to back isn't great for her physical or mental health. A lot of people are also worried that Chad might cheat on her because, well, if he'll cheat with you, he'll cheat on you. Some think she should hold off on marrying him so that if things go south, she can leave more easily. I'll keep you posted as things unfold, but for now, it's mostly just a lot of social media drama, her yelling, relatives slut-shaming her, and people who are genuinely worried. As entertaining as this is, it's also kind of sad because her behavior just doesn't seem healthy. Edit 2. First, I just realized I never gave this girl a name. For clarity, let's call her Beth. And just to be clear, all the names in this story are fake. Second, for those pointing out that Chad is responsible for the downfall of his own marriage, I completely agree. His ex-wife and her friends/family, however, place all the blame solely on Beth. Given that Chad is older and has more life experience, it's possible he's taking advantage of her naivety. That said, Beth is also an adult who has repeatedly made poor decisions of her own accord. Third, to those saying I'm humiliating her by posting this, Beth has been publicly documenting this entire situation on every social media platform she has since they got engaged in July. She made this mess public long before I ever mentioned it here, and she did so in front of friends, family, employers, coworkers, and complete strangers online. Fourth, even though Beth and Chad got engaged in July and supposedly started planning then, she only asked me to be a bridesmaid 3 days ago. I was aware that things were chaotic, but I hadn't been keeping up with the details until she reached out. When I asked her about it and suggested she talk to someone, she brushed me off completely. That's when I checked her Facebook and Instagram and discovered, well, all of this. Fifth, I realized I hadn't really explained just how disastrous the wedding planning has been, so here's a quick rundown. They've had to reschedule 3 times because venues and vendors kept canceling when COVID infection rates surged, even though the wedding was still months away. Beth has been going back and forth between wanting to get married while pregnant because she's proud of her bump and wanting to wait until after she gives birth because she feels fat. Unfortunately, her insecurities have led to several emotional breakdowns, broadcasted publicly on social media. She's currently 7 months pregnant. Beth's great-aunt had planned to give her a wedding dress to wear after she gave birth, but Beth's mom freaked out, stole the dress from the aunt before Beth could get it, and is now keeping it. The great-aunt, deciding it's not worth the fight, has shrugged the whole thing off. Chad's immediate family is paying for the wedding, which has led to them being cut off by the rest of their extended family for choosing Chad. Beth's wedding colors are pink and green, a combination that can look nice, but the specific shades she picked do not go well together. They're her and Chad's favorite colors, which is fine, but she made a 14-minute video on Instagram talking about them, while both of her kids were screaming in the background. She completely ignored them, which has led to some backlash. Meanwhile, Adam has finally settled into his trade and has now hired a lawyer to fight for primary custody of their daughter. He's also trying to prevent her from attending the wedding. Beth is planning a Zoom baby shower/bachelorette party and has sent out a registry, asking for ridiculously expensive gifts. She also set up a GoFundMe to pay for a honeymoon and has been posting non-stop about how no one loves her, because the fundraiser has only collected $1,267 out of the $20,000 she was hoping for. I'll update when I can, but I'm still in school, and while I do want to help her, she has refused offers of help in the past. There's only so much of this chaos I can handle mentally right now. Update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Apologies for the late update. COVID came back strong, throwing off my plans for university and family. Anyway, here's what's new. Since the last update, December 16th, Beth has continued her social media rants while trying to plan a chaotic wedding. She finally found a dress and decided to get married while still pregnant. They secured a beautiful local venue, but I'm surprised she's still trying to book anything given how many places have canceled on them. December 16th. Beth's younger sister briefly unblocked her just to call her a SL*T and mock her wedding plans, leading to a petty yet entertaining Facebook fight. The sister then reblocked her the next day. December 18th. Beth had a meltdown on social media, accusing Adam of kidnapping their daughter. In reality, due to slow-moving courts during COVID, Adam, fearing for their daughter's well-being, decided not to return her. Since there's no official custody arrangement, the police couldn't intervene, especially since there was evidence supporting Adam's concerns. Beth had publicly posted multiple videos showing her neglecting her daughter, yelling at her for basic toddler behavior, and failing to provide for her. Adam, on the other hand, had been the one covering all her needs: food, diapers, clothes, daycare, when it was open, and even paying $500 in unofficial child support, despite already handling everything financially. Additionally, Beth had never taken the child to a doctor. All medical visits were handled by Adam. The pediatrician had never even met Beth. Beth tried to get Chad to intimidate Adam, but local police, still under scrutiny from past corruption scandals, refused to get involved. When a social worker was called, they suggested Beth attend parenting classes and therapy, but she refused and went on an aggressive Facebook rant, insisting she didn't need help. December 19th to 24th. More angry social media posts, filled with insults and slurs against anyone who didn't support her. Meanwhile, both Beth and Chad are now under investigation at work, though she doesn't seem to know why. Reminder, 99% of this information is coming from her own public social media, where she lists her workplace and coworkers as friends. December 25th. This was beyond embarrassing. I avoided checking her Facebook until the evening because I didn't want drama ruining Christmas morning. Turns out, Beth wore a gorgeous blue maternity dress, had Chad dress in his police uniform, put Baby B in a purple romper, and live-streamed their attempt to get married at the courthouse on Christmas Day. She openly admitted that she planned her wedding anniversary to overshadow Christmas for her kids because it was so much more special. Thankfully, Baby B's grandparents are filing for guardianship. But here's the kicker: the courthouse was closed. Not just because of COVID but because, well, it was Christmas, and we live in Canada, which has Christian traditions. Beth completely lost it, screaming in public. When Baby B started crying, understandably, given that her mom was having a meltdown, Beth called her own child a C***T. I am officially done with this woman. December 28th. I ran into Beth at a vaccine clinic while getting my booster shot. She didn't recognize me at first, but after an old boss greeted me, she came over to talk. She asked how I was but didn't wait for an answer before launching into complaints about her life. I planned to sit through it politely until our waiting period was up, but when she started bad-mouthing her kids, something inside me snapped. I bluntly asked, "Do you even like your kids? Do you like being a mom?" For the first time, she actually went quiet. Then she just said, no. Her whole demeanor changed, and we sat in silence until it was time to leave. I said goodbye, but it was painfully awkward. December 31st, today. I just checked her feed, and I'm speechless. She's now considering giving up her kids. In a long post, she reflected on someone recently asking her if she liked being a mom, which, yeah, was me, and she admitted that she doesn't. She blames her children for ruining her life and says she doesn't want to be a mother. Nothing's official yet, but, what the actual F***? I'll update as things unfold now that I have more time. This whole situation is a complete disaster. Also, sorry for any formatting errors, still getting used to using Reddit on my PC. Update. So, a lot has happened, and surprisingly, most of it is good? A quick TLDR will be at the bottom. January 4th, Beth and Chad completely disappeared from social media. Given how much she overshares, seriously, she posts about everything except bathroom breaks, I actually started wondering if something had happened to her. Her absence was so out of character that people started messaging her or interacting with her profiles just to check in. Normally, she was the one initiating contact, usually by yelling, so her silence was weird. Some people even debated calling the cops for a wellness check. Then Chad finally posted a status saying they were fine but busy and asked people to stop contacting them. Everyone respected it, but the whole situation felt odd. January 11th, Beth and Chad were back online. I got a notification but ignored it because I wasn't in the mood for drama. January 12th, today, Beth messaged me on Facebook, asking me to be her maid of honor. She also wouldn't stop talking about a resort in Cancun where she and Chad plan to have their wedding, next month. COVID, Omicron, is really bad here, so no one should be traveling, period. I've even had to delay my own return to my university province. Then things took a turn. Beth found out Chad was cheating on her with one of her coworkers and went off on Facebook, calling the woman a homewrecker, tagging her, and posting the text she found on Chad's phone. But despite everything, Beth called Chad the love of her life and forgave him, just not the other woman. The irony is real, considering how Beth and Chad got together in the first place. She also sent me pictures of bridesmaid dresses, and they were the ugliest things I've ever seen. I know some brides intentionally pick bad dresses to make themselves stand out, but this was next level. One looked like a half-deflated balloon with feathers glued to it. Then she casually mentioned that every guest would need to pay $3,000, $2000 for their resort stay and $1,000 that would go directly to Beth and Chad to cover their own stay. Apparently, she made a deal with the resort. If she got enough people to book rooms, she and Chad could stay for free. But instead of having guests pay the resort directly, she wanted the money sent to her so no one would realize she was skimming off the top. She also shared a picture of her dream wedding dress, and it's basically a clubbing dress. Which, hey, if that's what she wants, that's her choice, and for the record, I do think she'd look good in it. But the kicker? She expects all guests to be in black tie attire. Oh, and she had a list of ridiculous demands. All women must wear heels, for a beach wedding. No guests can be pregnant or have a baby. Women must have hair longer than shoulder length, while men must have very short hair, only an inch or two. No one can be thinner than her. She will be providing diets to all guests to ensure they look how she wants them to. She and Chad must have bachelor/bachelorette parties both in Canada and in Mexico, paid for by others, because it's tacky for the bride and groom to pay for their own. No unnatural hair colors. No tattoos. Beth, you have 5 tattoos, all of which would be visible in your dress. No one is allowed to speak to her directly, everything must go through the maid of honor or best man. There was so much more, but I didn't have the patience to type it all. She posted this entire list on Facebook and Instagram, and people immediately started calling her a bridezilla. The weirdest part? Aside from our brief convo at the hospital and her earlier bridesmaid request, we haven't spoken since high school. I politely declined, saying that COVID and school were my priorities. Then I checked her socials, and something felt off. Her usual content was back, selfies, rants, drama, but her kids were completely missing. No cute baby posts, no crying kids in the background of her videos, nothing. But judging by her photos, she's definitely had baby C. She still looks like she's recovering, so she obviously gave birth, but there's no mention of the baby anywhere. When she responded to my decline by trying to guilt-trip me, I straight up asked, "Where are your kids?" And this was her response. "Oh, I left them at the side of the road in our way home from the hospital. Those moochers could walk home, lol." I was like, please tell me you're not being serious, especially cause it looks like she had the baby days ago. And she replied, "I was just joking, you shouldn't be so serious all the time. Honey, you made a joke about child abandonment/abuse, you're not being serious enough." And then I finally got the update on the kids. Beth has officially signed away her parental rights. Baby A remains with Adam, while baby B and baby C have been placed with a mutual cousin of Adam and Chad, who is unable to have children. I really didn't need the lengthy rant from Beth about how she believes infertility is some kind of punishment. I couldn't even finish reading it. I didn't expect her to be so cruel. I checked baby B's grandparents' Facebook page, and they seem happy with their grandchild's new family. It looks like the cousin and her husband are welcoming them as an additional set of grandparents and will allow them access to baby B, which is great news. I should mention that due to COVID, the courts in our area are either severely delayed or closed. While Beth and Chad have signed all the necessary paperwork, it still needs to be presented to a judge for finalization. During our conversation, Beth mentioned that the doctor who delivered baby C prescribed her birth control. She was surprised because, after her first pregnancy, she had requested it from her previous doctor, but he refused. That same doctor also treated her mother and sister. She has now chosen baby C's doctor as her new physician, and I hope that works out for her. Unfortunately, our conversation quickly took a turn for the worse. "Beth, did you really think I would just abandon my kids on the street? I didn't want to be a mom, but that doesn't mean I was a bad one." "Me, Beth, I think you've gone through a lot of trauma in recent years, and it has affected your mental health. I really think speaking to a professional could help." Of course, Beth hasn't been a good mother, but I knew saying that outright wouldn't help. I wasn't going to convince her to get help, or stop her from yelling at me by saying it. "Beth, what? You think I'm crazy?" "Me, no. I think being kicked out as a teenager due to pregnancy, facing rejection from your family, and dealing with their attempts to sabotage you must have been incredibly painful. On top of that, pregnancy takes a huge mental toll, and you've gone through 3 in a short time. I just want you to take care of yourself and work toward what you want in life, and I believe prioritizing your mental health is the first step. Beth, what I want is for you to go straight to hell." She then proceeded to call me every curse word and insult she could think of, including a racial slur directed at my ethnicity. That was the final straw. Now, I'm on her hit list. She's been spamming my social media all day, and in her latest Facebook post, where she called me a slur, she also mentioned that she still expects a nice wedding gift from me. Yeah, that's not happening. So, I've blocked her everywhere and decided to cut off contact for good. TLDR. Beth disappeared from social media for a while, then had baby C. She gave up all her kids. Baby A is with Adam, while baby B and baby C are now with a mutual cousin of Adam and Chad. Baby B's grandparents have access. Chad cheated on her, she forgave him, though she probably shouldn't have. She's planning a wedding in Cancun in just over a month and is already making unreasonable demands. She asked me to be her maid of honor. I declined. I suggested she seek mental health support, and she responded by cussing me out and calling me a racial slur. That was the last straw. I've blocked her on everything, I won't be attending her wedding, and I'm officially done with her. This is my final update on the situation. Update. Hey, everyone. I didn't think I'd be making another update, but here we are. I'm not sure if anyone even cares at this point, but whatever. I recently saw a YouTuber, Charlotte Dobe, do a whole video about this post on Facebook, and honestly, she did a great job. It was pretty funny. Editor's note, here's the video, and also, check out Charlotte Dobe's subreddit. At first, I was nervous that Beth would see it, but it turns out she already has, and she doesn't care at all. As I mentioned before, most of the information in the post came from her own public social media. Plus, she has no idea who originally shared it, more on that in a bit. I'm still not in contact with Beth and have no intention of changing that. However, mutual friends have kept me updated on what's been happening. The latest. Beth and Chad got married, but they eloped. According to multiple sources, their marriage is already miserable. Chad is proving to be both lazy and unfaithful. Beth has become heavily involved in feminism, particularly reproductive rights. This shift happened after she started using birth control, and the Roe v. Wade decision, despite them living in Canada, sparked even more tension in their marriage. Chad, on the other hand, believes abortion is murder and that women were created solely to have babies. Their biggest fight? Beth argued that not all women want or should be mothers, using herself as an example. Chad fired back by saying she proved his point, because in the end, her kids went to an infertile couple. She did not take that well. She expressed that her life was completely derailed the moment she got pregnant with baby A. She was slut-shamed and ostracized both at home and at school, which, to be fair, was true. Many of us supported her, but a lot of people were incredibly cruel. Meanwhile, Adam never faced that kind of judgment. She also said that if she hadn't gotten pregnant, she would have gone to college or university, but losing her family's financial and emotional support made that impossible. Oh, and Chad made a Tinder account. Beth was informed, but it seems like she couldn't care less. So yeah, that's where things stand. So basically you could cut the tension with a knife. And with her family, her sister came out as gay and has been cut off from their parents. But she's got a partial scholarship, so she's doing okay. She and Beth are not on good terms but have met up and acknowledged that their parents messed them up by being religious nuts, and their parents encouraged them to be competitive with each other and sabotage each other. Apparently their dad's motto is, competition brings out the best in everyone, ugh. But they've talked and that's good enough for now. Neither Beth nor Chad have custody or visitation of their children, which Chad is starting to regret because he's suddenly getting more and more into the church and religion. Chad talked to Beth about getting baby C back, but Beth shut that down hard and warned the cousin who adopted baby C, officially and legally by the way. Beth started going to therapy after she and Chad got married, which makes me very happy and excited for her. There were rumors about Chad having an affair, and after some time, I was able to confirm that they were true. He's cheating on Beth with a paramedic, and she knows about it. I'm not sure if she plans to confront the situation or just keep ignoring it, but I really hope she leaves him. While I have no intention of speaking to her again, she crossed too many boundaries. She has grown and changed a lot. Her life would undoubtedly be much better without that pathetic excuse of a man. Now, in my previous post, I included details that should have made my identity clear to her, particularly the fact that she asked me to be her maid of honor. I recently learned that she actually asked around 15 different girls, myself included, to be her MOH without informing any of us about the others. She did this in an attempt to get money from all of us, as she was struggling with her mental health and needed financial support. Out of those 15, 8 of us were attending school out of province, and we all shared nearly identical high school classes. She also seems to have completely forgotten our conversation at the vaccination clinic and ended up having major arguments with everyone she had asked to be MOH. At this point, she knows the person who posted this is one of those 8 but reportedly has no interest in figuring out exactly who it was. Chad apparently pulled the same stunt with his groomsmen, but I don't know the numbers involved. TLDR, Beth and Chad eloped, but they're miserable. Neither of them has custody or visitation rights with their kids. Chad is unfaithful, and Beth doesn't seem to care. He's also incredibly sexist, while Beth now identifies as a feminist. She and her sister, who is gay, have spoken but haven't fully reconciled. On top of that, Beth asked too many girls to be her MOH for financial reasons and has no idea who made this post. To Beth, if this somehow makes its way to you, please leave Chad. He's garbage, and you'd be far better off without him. While I have no interest in reconnecting with you because of what you said and did, I genuinely hope you find happiness and live a good life.